Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi. Tonight we have information on how Women's Data Science Conference went in Johannesburg, as it was International Women's Day. We also have information on what the State Security Minister said about possible social media regulation. Our discussion is on WikiLeaks findings about alleged American surveillance. Seth Mbele from Digital Voodoo is with us for that one. You can find us on SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. Recently, a group of women met in Johannesburg to discuss data science and opportunities available in the field for them. The event also happened as the world celebrated International Women's Day. Data science can be complex, and that chases a lot of people away from it. Some don't even know about it, and that's why a group of women got together to teach each other a lot more about the field.
Data science is the ability or the skill set to take large amounts of data and make meaningful insights out of it.
The women at this data science conference in Johannesburg have a variety of corporate and academic backgrounds. Those attending also got a chance to find out what others in the field do in this space.
Our industry has to do more in terms of ensuring diversity, in terms of ensuring that we bring in a pipeline and get girls and young women excited about being in our industry. We've got to change the face of our industry as well. Right now it is very male dominated, so it's important for women to be out there, especially women in our industry, to start talking about the experience, to start talking about, yes, the challenges, but also celebrating our successes as women in tech.
Meeting like this is with the hope that it will attract a lot more women to get in the field.
We know that going forward there's not enough data scientists in the world, and it's going to be one of the most sought after jobs.
All of this happened as the world observed International Women's Day on Wednesday. Many social media users were not happy when State Security Minister David Mahlobo said his department is considering regulation of social media. We asked those who research social media what they think of this. The following clip starts with Mahlobo explaining why he feels social media needs to be regulated.
We are contemplating to regulate the space. Even best democracies that are revered, they regulate the space. But we will need the society to be with us, because when we regulate the space, they will start to jump that we are interfering with human rights. Human rights and security, national security, they are not mutually exclusive, but they are mutually dependent.
You can't have a government body, let alone the state security department, regulating speech online. There are all sorts of implications around freedom of expression, infringing on our, basic human rights around that. And we also are seeing at the moment, you've got multiple different government departments trying to regulate the same space with different regulation methods.
If you listen to what the minister says, he assumes that they are regime change agents, and also he speaks about the issue of fake news, and couching his argument on that becomes a fallacy in a way, and it actually makes a weak argument. Social media could be regulated in instances where there's clear cases of terrorism, there's clear cases of abuse, racism, sexism, homophobia, and the like. Then you can actually not necessarily need a law to regulate those kinds of the social media per se, but you need within the constitution and within the laws of the country to have regulatory measures that speak to that.
What we see is a space or platform, or the internet in general, that is already regulated. I think we can't forget that. There is a certain level of regulation, and that comes back down to also our local policies around what is legal content. I mean, for example, you can't upload child pornography online on social media. That's illegal. That gets regulated. Facebook, Twitter, all of those platforms have their internal policies which limit you to what you can upload online.
What we're seeing now is a very distinct thing happening predominantly online, where we're seeing websites spring up that look like established news sites, but they're running stories which are blatantly untrue.
fake news, you find them on websites that are not mainstream, and you find them maybe on only one website. SABC hasn't picked it up, ENC hasn't picked it up, ETV hasn't picked it up, ANN7 hasn't picked it up, and it only exists on an obscure website. There's no trace or trail of events before that leading to the coming or blowing up of that story.
The way we use the term fake news now, it's not so much about your National Enquirer or aliens in the sky or Toplosh under the bed stories. It's about stories that have a very overtly political agenda and that they're trying to establish something as fact by repeating it often enough.
If it sounds too sensational or too good to be true, it often is. I think it's a very good practice to corroborate what you see with other sources to make sure that you don't only rely on one source. Usually when there's something a breaking news story that it can be corroborated somewhere else, you can go and search for reputable news platforms and sites to see whether that is something that is out there and that is general knowledge.
The city of Kigali in Rwanda has been rolling out smart buses that offer 4G Wi-Fi. Now a new program is meant to move the buses around more efficiently.
Kigali is good to go. Tap and go. This is a new trend in the city. It has replaced cash payments in public service vehicles with electronic cards. The revolutionary technology has given a facelift to the transport industry in Rwanda's capital.
It has really helped us. Initially, the drivers hiked the bus fare, especially if they see there are many travelers. But these cards, once you load them with money, and when you come to the terminal, you just swipe and you get in. So they've really helped us.
Now less congested and more orderly, the Nyarugenge bus terminal in the heart of Kigali is proof that the transport smart system is effective.
South Africa's National Science Festival kick-started on Wednesday, and prisoners in Taiwan are learning how to install solar panels. These are some of the stories that made tech headlines in the last week.
South Africa's Science Festival, otherwise known as the Sci-Fest, kick-started in Grahamstown earlier in the week. The fest continues to promote awareness and aims to encourage young South Africans to take science and technology subjects.
Science, mathematics and technology are really important areas for our young people to take up as their subjects of interest, because these are what we call the gateway subjects. They open up the world to young people, and I think Sci-Fest is doing a very, very important task for us of ensuring that we reach thousands of young people.
South African taxi drivers blocked roads to Johannesburg's airport on Friday, holding up thousands of travelers in the latest protest against ride-hailing app Uber.
We are experiencing the illegality of Uber that is operating in the meter taxi, and they call it they say it's a competition. In our industry, there is no competition because we are regulated. We are regulated by the Department of Transport Board. So if they give us a price, we adhere to that price. So Uber cannot come and survey our price and they go lower, so that the customers must go to the lowest price. Everyone needs a cheaper thing.
In response to the protesters, Uber's Alan Litz had this to say.
We understand that meter taxi operators are frustrated. I think an important point to note is that Uber's technology is open and it's not exclusive. We're keen to offer the technology to as many drivers as possible to boost their occupancy rates and chances for profit. We have been and we continue to engage with meter taxi operators, and we've been doing this for over 3 years. There are a large number of meter taxi operators already using our technology, and we would welcome more operators to join. These threats and intimidation against those who choose to use apps like Uber are unacceptable. Today's protest only underlines why people are increasingly choosing safe and reliable alternatives like Uber.
Uber has attracted more than 500,000 users and 4,000 drivers across South Africa since its 2013 launch. Still in South Africa, technology conglomerate Cisco held its annual expo called Cisco Connect. The company went with the theme Smart Connected Cities.
We've decided our theme is Smart Connected Cities, and that's because we recognize that many of the cities are challenged with urbanization. So problems with waste management, water management, traffic control, lighting, all of these issues are creating a real challenge for the metros around delivering services to their citizens. So what we've done is we've created all our solutions to demonstrate what the art of the possible is to overcome those challenges.
Now heading over to Taiwan. On Ping Tung Jail's sunlit roof, prisoner number 24 has a view of a brighter future. Ex-cop Chen, serving time for bribery, is learning how to install solar panels in a program that's part of Taiwan's vision of a future without nuclear power. The solar project is expected to be fully completed in March and will have a solar energy capacity of 1.8 megawatts, enough to supply electricity to 639 average Taiwanese households for a year.
It is the SABC network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. After the break, we chat about WikiLeaks' latest revelations with Seth Mbele from Digital Voodoo. Stay with us.
With the vast experience SABC News have, we are able to gather news and when it happens locally and abroad.
Inflation will be lower this year. Food price inflation more specifically could decline.
Current chairperson Dr. Nkosazana Lamini Zuma is not vying for a second term. 5 candidates are eyeing her seat.
The idea of having more countries seems specifically tailored to appeal to the African, Asian and Caribbean confederations who have been underrepresented at World Cups.
Ronaldo lifted the UEFA Champions League before captaining his country to a first international trophy at Euro 2016.
To be informed all the time, stay tuned to News Today, Monday to Friday at 3 p.m.
News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Spying organization WikiLeaks revealed what it says are America's hacking methods. These methods include smartphone devices, television sets, and even the Internet Explorer browser. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange says the Vault 7 documents are the most comprehensive release of U.S. spying files ever made public. The documents say the TV in your living room can be used as a microphone by the CIA, and they allege that the agency can find ways of blaming other countries for what's done by America. According to the almost 9,000-page long documents, the agency can spy on and control people's telephone conversations. Now, joining me in studio to discuss this is Seth Mbele from Digital Voodoo. And thank you for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Seth, we just mentioned there that America is using different devices. Can you just tell us about what they do with these different devices?
So basically what the CIA has been doing is that they have been working behind the scenes to find what we call compromised pieces of software in the devices. So we're counting here iPhones, the Android operating system, a couple of smart TVs, in particular the Samsung ones, where they find issues with the operating system and they find ways to exploit that, and then they gain control of it for various reasons of spying on people.
But at this stage, these are just allegations made by WikiLeaks.
These are a little bit more than allegations, because these are the documents that detail what CIA has actually done. So their own documents, and also a little bit of the surveillance that they've done. So one of the biggest critiques of what is going on at the moment is that the CIA was doing all of these shenanigans, and they stored all of that information in one location with not a lot of security around that.
Do we know how WikiLeaks gets its documents from?
So WikiLeaks operates on a couple of things, mostly whistleblowers. So they have whistleblowers, so there will be someone probably within the CIA as an organization who feels that maybe what the CIA is doing is not quite right, and they will point them in the right direction to find this information. And also they do have hackers who feel that is the right avenue for them to expose what it is that they found when they hack.
And has the CIA said anything about these revelations that have been made by WikiLeaks?
CIA has been very quiet, and no one really expected them to make much of a comment, because everyone knew that this is what they were doing. They just didn't know the depth to which they had managed to get into people's pockets and people's homes. But it's literally no one is really surprised.
Should it just be American citizens then that should be worried about this? Should I now panic if I want to go and buy a new TV set and worry that America could be spying on me in my home using my TV set?
Well, the way that the intelligence community operates, and also the way that technology operates, is fundamentally global. So iPhone is made in made in America, shipped all over the world. We've got iPhones, we've got Samsung TVs. The issue here is that the spying is on everyone. So South Africans are affected, people in Zimbabwe, all over the world, everyone is affected. So it's about what information the CIA deems to be important at the time that they're spying, and that's the information that they're going to start using.
The Internet Explorer browser has also been flagged here. What is it about Internet Explorer that makes them spy on it, and what is it that they look for when you are using the Internet Explorer browser?
Internet Explorer, since I believe since maybe 2007 or 2008, most professionals in the digital space have been telling people to stay off Internet Explorer for various reasons. Not many people support it from a architecture perspective, and not a lot of people support it from a security perspective. It is known worldwide to be very weak. But unfortunately, it is the browser of choice by people, corporations who buy Microsoft bundles. So government, a lot of blue chips still use Internet Explorer as their primary browser of choice. But it is known, everyone knows, every security consultant knows that Internet Explorer is very weak. It's not a good browser. It hasn't been for the last 10 years.
You say anyone can be spied on. So should everyone now panic?
It's not really about panicking. It's about what do you have to hide, and it's also this thing that we call universal precautions. So there's the universal precautions of what information you think is safe to transmit over digital means, and also don't be talking about bombs, because you're going to get red flagged if you're trying to go for a holiday in Miami, and it's just not going to work out for you. So things like that, just be careful about what you say, and know that people are listening.
But a lot of it can be innocent, though, Seth. You might find that, for example, someone who works for a media organization might be working on a story about bombs, and then they apply for an American visa, but it could just be innocent, or it could be about work, no?
Sure. What they literally do is that the software listens out for keywords. So they'll listen for the keyword. The keyword will then request a recording of communication, and then they will look into it and find out what it is that you're talking about, and if you are a risk factor or a flag.
Is there anything that we can do now to protect ourselves? Maybe not getting Internet Explorer or downloading another browser once you're on Internet Explorer. Is there anything else that we should do?
Things that you can do. I don't want to get into trouble with Microsoft, but really their browser has been terrible for at least the last 10 years. You need to get off Internet Explorer if you're still on Internet Explorer. You need to find, there are various other alternatives. The two biggest ones are Firefox and Google Chrome. Those ones, they release regular security patches. They're generally really good browsers, a good experience. That's number one. Number two, obviously stay away from crime. Even criminals know not to discuss their criminality over telephones, but just stay away from any criminal activities. And the third thing is, if you are using things like smart TVs in your home, as you've heard, they can be used as a microphone to intercept communication. So things like firewalls would be a good idea. You might have to spend a little bit of money, but just make sure that your local internet connection is secure.
Seth Mbele from Digital Voodoo, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Thanks for having me, sir.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we find out about the .Africa that was just launched that URL. Stay with us.
SABC News brings the world closer to you.
Sherwin Bryceby's SABC News, Washington.
Jam Whitehead, SABC News in London.
Mzandi Lembejo, SABC, Sochi, Russia.
I'm Sarah Kimani signing off from Kigali for the SABC News.
Other than that, I've enjoyed every single moment of it.
Crisaldo Lewis, SABC News at Wits University.
SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. It is SABC Network over there. Now, the African Union is getting a new URL. This announcement was made at the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa on Friday. Janji Chauge has the details.
New kid on the information superhighway. Unlike other continents, Africa was previously not represented as a digital family on the internet, but a Midrand-based non-profit company, ZA Central Registry, the African Union Commission and other stakeholders have been hard at work since 2009 to register the domain with the Internet Corporation for Names and Numbers, ICANN. The .Africa domain name was finally launched in Addis Ababa on Friday.
ZACR and many others had to work together to reclaim what belongs to Africa. But eventually, on the 11th of February, we got it back. And obviously now Africa is celebrating because we have reclaimed our identity in the digital space.
Experts say .Africa will have a series of spin-offs for Africa.
This is a big moment for the Pan-African internet community, as the .Africa top-level domain name gives us a singular domain that people can basically build their brands around.
The continuing internet shutdown in parts of Cameroon. This week, our Twitter poll has been asking what you do the most on the internet. Now, 52% of respondents say they mostly do social media on the internet. That's followed by people who say they read the news. In 30%, there are people who say they do business on social media. And in last place, there are people who say they chat to other people on the internet. And that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's newsnetwork at sabc.co.za on email. We leave you with visuals of a Volvo Motor Show from me and the rest of the network team. Have a good one.